Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said Tuesday he will travel to Washington next week to meet U.S. President Donald Trump and other officials. According to Associated Press, speaking to a meeting of his cabinet, Netanyahu did not elaborate on the details of his visit, except to say he will discuss a trade deal. Netanyahu's visit comes as Trump has signaled he is ready for Israel and Hamas to wind down the war in Gaza, which is likely to be a focus of their talks. Iran, following the 12-day war with Israel, is also expected to be a main topic of discussion.
אני צפוי לצאת בשבוע הבא לפגישות בארצות הברית עם נשיא ארצות הברית דונלד טראמפ, עם סגן הנשיא ואנס, עם מזכיר המדינה והיועץ לביטחון לאומי מרקו רוביו, עם שר ההגנה פיט הקסט, עם נציג הנשיא למזרח התיכון סטיב ויטקוף, עם שר המסחר. יש לנו כמה דברים, כן, לוטניק, אבל יש לנו כמה דברים לסגור לפני כן כדי להגיע להסכם הסחר בנוסף לדברים אחרים. פגישות עם ראשי הקונגרס והסנאט ופגישות ביטחוניות שאני לא אפרט כאן. הדברים האלה באים בהמשך לניצחון הגדול שהשגנו במבצע עם תל-אביב, וניצול הצלחה הוא חלק לא פחות חשוב מהשגת ההצלחה.
The Kremlin's main mouthpiece, Vladimir Solovyov, who has been ridiculing Ukraine and singing Putin's praises for years, suddenly admitted on air that the Russian army is left without a sufficient number of drones and equipment, and the Ukrainian armed forces outnumber the Russian Federation in drones several times over. The broadcast attracted the attention of Ukrainian journalist and blogger Denis Kazansky. In his latest broadcasts, Solovyov stated that Russian troops at the front are losing the technological competition en masse. According to him, in some areas the Ukrainian armed forces have a 1.5 to 3 times superiority in UAVs, and Russian industry has proven unable to quickly establish production of even heavy drones. The same Solovyov, who never tired of repeating about small and poor Ukraine, now admits that this insignificant Ukraine is calmly surpassing the Russian Federation in key war technologies, despite all the stories about the great power. The presenter justifies himself by freezing the economy, although he recently assured that sanctions are senseless. Now it has suddenly become clear that Russian factories are not capable of producing either equipment, optics, or drones in the required volumes. The irony is that even Solovyov himself lets it slip. There is money in the country, but it is dissolved in corruption and luxury yachts instead of reaching the army. His most revealing words are, "Give everything to the front. Why can't we give it?" But Solovyov diligently forgets to clarify that for 25 years the same great manager, Putin, has been at the helm, who portrays strength on television but in practice has left his army without vehicles and drones. Perhaps this admission sounds the main thing. Ukraine, which Russian propaganda for many years called a failed project, territory without a future, and country of drug addicts, Solovyov himself is forced to admit, is more effective and flexible. Ukraine was able to build a system of drones and volunteer support which not only holds the front but also ruins the plans of the world's second army. In the north, Slobozansky direction towards the city of Sumy, Ukrainian defense forces continue to carry out counter-offensive operations. This was reported by Vadim Misnik, spokesperson for the Joint Forces Operation Siversk. He noted that Russian troops are conducting assaults using infantry groups while the use of motorized equipment has noticeably decreased. Sometimes they use small vehicles, such as ATVs and motorcycles, but recently we have seen a decline in the use of these means of transport. However, the infantry tactics themselves are also ineffective. This is noticeable, so the Russians have to operate with artillery support, but mostly they rely on air support, he added. Vadim Misnik also reported that over the past day, injuries and deaths of civilians were recorded in the Sumy and Chernihiv regions. These are areas where we are pushing the enemy back. They have to regroup and replenish. There are Russian soldiers stationed there who also fought in the Kursk region. They are probably rotating through their 5th or 6th supply point as our troops are constantly destroying them, said Vadim Misnik. The spokesperson for the Joint Forces Operation Siversk also emphasized that within their area of responsibility, the Russian army is not conducting large-scale mechanized assaults. No, we do not see that. We identify the Russians in time and destroy them. I also want to note that strikes deep into Russian territory are also having an impact. We detect such strikes in the Bryansk and Kursk regions targeting command posts, concentrations of equipment and personnel, places where they stockpile ammunition and fuel, as well as all these electronic warfare and electronic intelligence systems. Our forces are destroying them to the maximum extent, said Vadim Misnik. The Russians don't really have the opportunity to start anything new right now. The summer offensive will just be a continuation of what they did in the spring, Angelika Evans, a Russia analyst at the Institute for the Study of War, told. In the Sumy direction, Russian troops seem to have stopped completely, journalists write. According to Ukrainian military analyst Pavlo Narozny, Russia's main target in the region was Yunakovka, located directly on the road that connects Russia with the center of Sumy. If Russia manages to capture the city, he says, it will be a catastrophe for Ukraine. The forest leads directly to the city of Sumy, so if they manage to get artillery into Yunakovka and into the forest, they will be able to reach the city of Sumy with artillery, Narozny explained. The Russian offensive has largely stalled, although the occupiers have an advantage in manpower and drones. But as a high-ranking Ukrainian officer who is fighting in the Kupiansk direction told the publication, the Russian infantry is very poorly trained, if trained at all. As for Donetsk, the publication emphasized that if Russian troops are able to take Konstantinovka, this will pave the way for them, which will bring Russia closer to control over the entire Donbass. But, the article notes, given the current pace of the Russian offensive and the poor training of their fighters, this is unlikely.